I always say that. How's it going? Whenever I go live, don't I? I'm checking to see and I'm waiting to lock on because I need to see here on my screen. I am in some experimental mode right now. And let's see if this is the truth. You'll let me know. You'll let me know in the chat room if I am happening. And I am. And I am. So hello. Life is interesting. And that's how I'm going to start my stream. That's what I'm going to say here, from a different place, a different world, a liminal space with weird objects behind me and boxes and lights and pink. So something's coming from the other streams. I'm wearing pink and there's a little bit of blue. And so I'm looking at the chat. Hello, Esmeralda. And the Sunbeam Network. And Amandita, hello. And hello, Scorpion Muse. Eve Etta Travels. Hi. Where are you traveling? Where are you traveling to? Kay Michelle, hi. Hi. Good to see you all. I'm going to let some people bounce into here. I don't know how long I will go tonight because this is completely on the go and experimental. And I don't have any lights. So when the sun goes down, could be when this ends. That's a good way to do streams, is when the sun goes down. It's like 12 o'clock comes, pumpkin, turn into pumpkin. 11:00 levity. It's a pretty good evening. It sure is. It's an interesting evening for me. And I'm taking a risk here because I do not have my regular equipment. I'm using some of it right now. And I'm truly in a liminal space right now. So that's what's up. But I have a couple things on my mind that I want to talk about and just wanted to see if I can pull off something on the fly in my liminal transitional space and just connect with people and say what's up and talk about a couple transits here the next 4 days. Not even going eclipse realm because I think I might make a video for that if I make it that far, if I make it till then. So as I do this, it is 5:50 Pacific my time, and we are in a Virgo rising chart. I will bust out my chart in a second here. I will do that. I'm a little lost here because I'm not in my normal circumstances. So everything's going to seem different. And that is going to change eventually too. So, but I'm glad some of you have been able to drop in here and say hello. And yeah, I'll talk about Venus, Saturn, and Pisces, which occurred about an hour and a half ago or whatever, but it's still happening. And what I think about it. And then why I chose the thumbnail that I did for this particular one. And I have my reasons. Maybe I'll bust it out on screen here at some point as I set this up. But yeah, that's what's up. It's what's on my mind. I might just get right to it, but I want to make sure I have this. Oh, I'll put it right. Where should I put this? Oh, there's something I could do in my... No, I don't want to do that. I have such a small screen right now. I'm not in my usual workspace, so I'm going to have to do things differently tonight. Besides that, I hope you're doing well, everybody jumping in. And yeah, I've had I think since the last live stream that I did, my life has just completely changed in many ways. I even met some of you who maybe are watching live now or will be later. I actually met some of you face to face recently this past Saturday when I was in Tucson, Arizona to speak for the Cosme Astrology podcast with Lisa Warman and Taylor Schuler. And there was a bunch of people there in a little studio audience. That particular podcast at any time is going to go up on YouTube on the Cosme Astrology YouTube channel. I'm going to let everybody know about that. I have no idea what I said during those 2 hours on the mic, but I did meet some of you in person, and that was really good to do. And I had an interesting trip in general. on a private personal level. And I'm kind of back in my in-between space. So that's what's going on. Like, I'll talk more about that later. But, let's get to things. Anne-Marie Rigg, lucky day. Thanks for doing this. No problem. And it's a test here because I don't know how it's sounding and if it's going to come across decently with my technology. And I don't have the internet that I like these days, but I think I'm going to pull this off for the most part with what I have. Okay, so saying that, let's get to it. Let's talk about something here while I set it up behind the scenes. We'll talk about it. Let me get it going here. Serious business here with serious. Is this gonna work? I think I go like this, and it is. It's gonna work. Hi. I'm a little out of sorts here, so thanks for letting me know that sounds good, K. Michelle. That's good. So I'm using the same mic I do in the same camera, but it's a little different. I might have to do this like that, maybe, and do that. I'm gonna also show you. Thank you, Lucifer. Let me know what's up. Hello. Let's get to this. I want to show you this here. Wait, is that what I want to show you? No, it's kind of out of control. It just won't stop. This circle. It's just like this spiral, but that's not what I really want to do. Let's go here to Venus in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces. We had the conjunction today that's happening at 4:09 p.m. Pacific. It just happened, but it is happening right as we speak. I think this is such a great, interesting place. Some of you Pisces people or Pisces rising, or those who are going through a Saturn return, I don't know if it's so great for you. Saturn transits just depends. And when I talk to people, it could be really intense, hard, brutal. So when we're dealing with Venus, relationships, money, the feminine, in a place in Pisces where it's the idealized love, all-encompassing togetherness, and the different ways of doing love and connectivity and relating. In a water sign, it is mutable, that seeks and wants to harmonize, using the best of relational activities, and to uplift and to use uplifting words and actions to accentuate one's own beauty or the beauty of relationships in general. And it's not running solo here. And there is a serious note that happens here on a day like today with Saturn here that you see here, making a stepping in front of Venus in a sense and asking for something, to sign the contract, basically. Hey, Michelle Lehman, I see you. What's up? Good to join here on my random stream tonight. But yeah, we have a Venus-Saturn connection. This is serious stuff. And one way on the material world level that can play out here is, money issues and stuff. Let's say in the Pisces part of your chart, if they come up there, they're at a whole, like a gut check type of place with Saturn. You sign a contract today. The contract that you signed some time ago, where you were responsible for certain things in a contract, whether it was in a relationship you have or with the bank or a certain situation in the Pisces part of your chart, there's a gut check here. There's a signing of one or the review of one, or of where one, in a sense, has to take responsibility or reevaluate the responsibilities in the Pisces part of your chart. And this is what, Saturn does. It brings a seriousness and a truth-telling that deals with pure reality. And in one sense, the Venus in Pisces in general, there is a little bit of the liminal, or it's not real. It's has a tendency to have their feet hover above the ground or go to pleasurable places that don't really deal with, I would say, a certain type of reality that Saturn brings. But here is Saturn doing that and kind of giving a reality check here to this Piscean story. And I appreciate moments like this because in one sense too, Saturn-Venus connections can lay the deepest foundations for something down the line or to start something down the line. And you can look at it this way in the Pisces part of your chart. Steffi G, hello. Thanks for joining the chat. I see you. Cosmic Supermarket. That name, it's like you imagine if you had your own spaceship and you were able to travel all over space, and then there was like the Cosmic Supermarket. Like, what would you get? Like, you would go land at that Cosmic Supermarket and get off on that out of your ship, and then you would go shopping, or you would shop for things that you needed in space. Or if we look at it from another way, that how cosmic we all are, and the things that we would browse and look for in the supermarket to help us in the liminal space. I'm sure there's a beautiful thing or two over there in that supermarket. So Saturn, Venus, I've mentioned this particular degree in a live stream not too long ago. And it's a degree which I'll actually go over it with you again. Let's see. I'm a little off kilter. I'm not in my right chair that I usually do at stuff. But let's take a look at something, because I think I talked about this a while ago, and it had to do with Saturn and Pisces in general this year. I'm going to fast forward to Saturn retrograde cycle. Like, when it goes retrograde on June 29th here, we see that it's at 19 degrees. I mentioned this in the earlier stream. There it is right there. Okay. And we're going to keep going. We're going to go to the November 15, 2024. Later on this year, or in Saturn, after it goes retrograde in June, it stations to go forward November 15th. This is it right here. You'll see here at 12 degrees. So for those of you who have anything in mutable signs that it's at 12 degrees, especially Pisces, like 10, 11, 12, 13, this particular Saturn-Venus day is huge. And we're not even taking the account the eclipses that start, next Monday, and so on and so forth. But I want you to understand that this particular degree of 12 degrees Pisces, it's fundamental this year. And that they, if you're connecting with this, again, if you have something of water in this place, water at 12 degrees, let's say, just grabbing the water at 12 degrees, let's say you have something scorpionic in your chart at 12 degrees, you have to know it's, Saturn is trining your water or your Scorpio part, but we have a moment here this whole month where we had Mercury touch this degree, we have Venus, and eventually Mars and Pisces is going to do this, and I'm going to show you when it's going to do this. And then, we go back to these places where we hit this degree several times, and we're going to do it here all the way in November. And a lot's going to happen from now until then, but this is how we deal with reoccurring transits and astrology and themes when I work with clients. If a lot of times I'm looking at a Saturn story that's going on for the year, it's the top thing I'm going to talk about, because I see that it's going to, let's say, make 3 different hits, exact aspects to someone's planet per se in their chart. Let's say they got Venus. Let's say someone's got Venus in Pisces at 12 degrees, right? And we know that they are going to deal with relationships and money for the whole year, all the way even to 2025, as Saturn goes over and moves from November 15th, and it just keeps going. So they're going to go over this zone of degrees. And so if that's you, hit me up for a reading because you're going to need it. If it's not with me, it's anybody else. But I see divorces happen here. I see people who get married in situations like this. There's paying back of debt and loan. And you think about that energetically too in relational activities, not just with the actual cash and money and resources. At the same time, let me remind you, okay, as we go back to today, let me remind you, if you take this Venus-Saturn with the intention of, you got these huge pylons that you're putting into the ground, and wherever that is in your Pisces chart, and you're setting up a foundation for something for a larger cycle, this is the way to use the transit. If you're stuck in some situations that are hard at a Saturnian, then you have to deal with that. Don't try not to run away from it. It's not easy. I also say sometimes with Saturn, Venus here, there could be a particular person or mentor or teacher that can come into your world to help you, or to help you understand, or to help you evolve in the Pisces part of your chart. So this is another way of looking at it, but I'll take a look at in the chat here in a second. But I just, this is a pretty for me, because I'm a Saturn person, whenever I look at like inner body planets like Venus and Mars hitting Saturn, it's a cycle that's long term, and you just take advantage and take Saturnian mindset with things, okay? Even if you fucking can't stand it, you know. So saying that, this Venus-Saturn conjunction is happening today, right now. And the aspect happened at 4:09 p.m. Pacific, about 2 hours ago. Exactly almost 2 hours ago. Hello, Jagger Waters. I see you. What's up in chat? If that's what you're asking, what day? K. Michelle says, little brother had Pisces, Sun, Mercury, Jupiter, point of fortune, died. Unexpected car wash. Oh. I'm sorry, K. Michelle. Oh, that's challenging, my friend. Big blessings to you and your family on that. That's I feel for you. And I could see what you're saying here. Crash is being evaluated, investigated. His Mercury was 13 degree Pisces. Yeah. So yeah, big shout out to you, okay? I wanted to point this out today. There's other aspects, like a Mercury Chiron conjunction that we had yesterday, and I'll point this out right here because basically we're hitting the degree area we have, in a sense. We went over it. Right here is 18 to 20. Let's go back a day just to do it. Let's go back to yesterday, and you could see the Mercury Chiron connection that happened. And this is a thing. You take note if you're affected by this week, because basically this is pretty much at the degree that the April eclipse is going to happen, and it's the first hit that Mercury does with Chiron, okay? It already passed through the node. And then on April 8th, yes, K. Michelle, of course. I'm just, again, I'm also, the fact that you can be honest here and speak your truth in your world with something like that, like a tragedy and stuff and like that. I just, I honor that, and I honor you, Speaking of Chiron and wounds, you see this here at Mercury Chiron at 18 degrees. And so that happened yesterday on the 20th. But let's check out the eclipse on April 8th, and you will see. I'll put it on the outside of this chart. It's going to be hard to see, but I'll point it out. So you see what I just mentioned here. That's what I mentioned yesterday, 18 degrees Mercury Chiron, and then you could see here that on the eclipse day you have 19 degree total solar eclipse, and we're pointing this out because Mercury's there, and you can see at this point Mercury's at 24 degrees. Let's take a look at when it's going to go back to 18, 19 degrees. I have this in a notebook somewhere because I talked about this when I went to Tucson for the podcast. But let's take a look. I'm going to stream through here. We're going to stop at April 1st because that's when Mercury here goes retrograde, is on April 1st, right, at 27 degrees. And we're going to keep going to find out when Mercury is going to go all the way back to 19. We're way into, here is, I passed it. I went way too fast. I'm not in my usual working thing. But here you could see, let's go back a day. I went all the way to May. I went way too far. What am I doing? Watkins Cat House. Watkins Cat House. Hello. Says, where we live, our mountains are on fire. My best friend is right in the line of it. You already have mountain fires where you are? Wow. She has terminal cancer. It's for my family. We've all managed to catch pink eye. Wow, that's like inflammatory stuff that you've said to me right there. So here is on the 14th of April. To make this correct, you could see now where Mercury's coming back to do the second hit with Chiron here, right? Okay, so basically now we have the second one, right? And so we'll keep going, and we're going to go all the way to the point where, we're going to go past when Mercury stations, which is right here at 15 degrees, and that's on the April 25th. And we're going to go back to conjunction with Chiron. And here is the 19-degree spot at May 4th, which is the degree of the eclipse, where Mercury hits the third time at 19 degrees, the eclipse degree. And then the next day on the May 5th, you see the last third hit of Mercury Chiron conjunction that happens. Okay, so I'm bringing this up for those joining because yesterday on March 20th, we had our first Mercury in Aries conjunct Chiron. And so, this whole retrograde is going to have with Mercury is pretty much with the eclipse, even after the eclipses are over with. And Chiron is pretty much the main, I would say, anchor story along with wherever Mars is. And we're going to get to that. But, so just pointing out that basically we're in the eclipse zone. I will say we're in the eclipse zone as of the equinox that happened. And when we have the first eclipse on Monday and then 2 weeks later, the April 8th, we're already there. But it doesn't matter because after that, you have multiple planets that are going to hit the eclipse degree, right? So, for instance, here on May 5th, when Mercury does its third and final conjunction with Chiron, let's just make a note that you could see here that Mars still has to come all the way through and hit 19 degrees and hit the node and do all that. And it's like, that's kind of, I almost think, even though Mars is at home in Aries, that I think some of the more harder parts of this, the caustic activity that Mars could bring, could happen after the eclipses. That the stories are set up and doors are opening and closing. Let's say you have something in Aries at 19 degrees or Libra there, a cardinal. The storylines happening right now could be very immediate. You'll see it. But for those who might not be right at the degree but are affected by the eclipses, the story just plays out after the next 2 weeks when you got Mercury, then Mars coming in. Now, obviously, Mars is at home in Aries, but still, what it wields and what it does, there's no thinking. It is impulse and instinct, and it speaks and is through action and truth. And Mercury at this point on May 5th is speaking some serious truth with Chiron at 3 times now, but hopefully very clear at this point, having to do a review period during eclipse season for the retrograde. And then Mars is going to hit the node eventually. And let's go take a look at when Mars is going to do this, because then you could see how we're already in May 5th, and I'm going to move it all the way up. And you see now Mercury left Aries on May 15th-ish. And then you could see Mars at this point is conjunct the node on May 19th. Right here, I will point it out. Pretty much hitting the node. You could see on this day, by the way, we have a Mars-Moon opposition, which is basically a nodal story. And this is the type of stuff you can go back to last year when we had our first eclipses in Aries, when we had 2 new moon in Aries in 1 month, and the second one was the 29-degree eclipse that happened to start off the Aries-Libra eclipse cycle. Okay, so every time we do eclipses and stuff, let's say we have planets in Aries, and then like the moon comes, like it is here in this chart on May 19th, and it's with the south node, this is completely eclipse related and chapter wise. So now you could see another building block to why this doesn't just fall off after the 2 weeks here of eclipses. It keeps going. So let's keep going in this chart since you're all, I think, staying with me, and I'll jump into the chat. Good to see. Hey, Palmer Paints, Titty and X, indeed blessed. Thanks for chopping in on my little experimental stream in my liminal space. But here we are on May 19th. We're already May 19th. And just check out this May 19th day. Let's actually check this shit out because I just saw something. I can't believe this. I already knew about this day for this reason, because of the major Jupiter-Sun conjunction that's going to happen at the end of the Jupiter and Taurus transit. Right at the end of it, we're going to have this major Jupiter-Sun conjunction, and it's ruled by Venus. And, we look at where Venus is in Taurus there. It feels pretty good, doesn't it? Right? And you have Saturn, kind of these water stuff in there. You have Neptune at 29 degrees, making this sextile with Jupiter. Jupiter right here. So there's this on May 19th, and we go all the way to here to this, and it's brilliant. Some amazing Jupiter exact sextile with the sun. Like, okay, pretty good. But at the same time, it isn't completely Venus-y, water and earth. We still have Mars here with the node, and then opposite the moon here in Libra, that is ruled by Venus, all this here. So the solution, if we're going to go this far, I'm going to talk about this in the future, is that, we are going to probably thank Venus here and go towards Venus in its conjunction. Let's just check this shit out. This week. It's amazing transit, man. This is incredible. But you could see Venus-Uranus conjunction that just happened. Venus rules this Pisces moon, the Libra moon on May 19th, that's opposing here and the node. Holy shit, that's a fucking week right there. Don't care, I'm swearing today. Let's keep going, because we want to go to 19 degrees with Mars. And so we will. And basically, it's going to be right there on May 26th. We're at the end of May, and here is now Mars in Aries, finally hitting the eclipse degree right here. And it still hasn't had its conjunction with Chiron. So we're going to keep going, and we're going to do it right there. And it's May 29th. We're at the end of May. I mean, it's just wild. So we're already in Gemini birthdays. We just, we're going to have a Venus conjunction. We won't even get into that right now. I just wanted to show you the Mars, the Aries planets, and what they're doing with Mars and Mercury here. Mercury this week, and what Mars is going to do, going over the eclipse degree and going the nodal degree, the eclipse degree, and then its conjunction with Chiron. Let us rewind back to Aura right now. Andy, hey. Oh, so Andy, I missed you. I missed you all. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm pulling it off. Wake me from this with a super chat. Thank you for the cactus. I was hiking amongst the cactuses several days ago with a friend of mine, some wild stuff. And I was telling my friend, I want to run into a snake. And then she's like, no, you don't want to run into a snake. And I said, yes, I do. Yes, I do want to run into a snake, because I run into snakes and I love snakes and I love what they represent in my world. I mean, I got them on my body. They come to me when I feel like I'm on the edge of death or close to death or something. Or, it's changing and I know I'm on the right path. When I really do die, hopefully I get to foresee that, I hopefully see snakes. So I guess the next time I see a snake, does that mean I'm going to die? But then if I take that into a thing, I'm like, well, I could, so I better live it up now. So anyway, wake me from this. Thank you for the super chat. Wake me from this just made a donation to my live stream. And you could do that on YouTube if you're on desktop or on your laptop. You can go into the chat box and you'll see the little money symbol there. You could do it there. Or you can do it on mobile. Or you can go to my website or my IG profile where it says Sparkles of Gold /links and my PayPal and Venmo if you ever feel called to. What's really good is readings. I have a little surprise when it comes to little readings here that I'm going to talk about and drop into the chat here a little later. But I'm going to catch up with chat before I talk about some other transits here about tomorrow, okay? And I can't see all of chat. I'm going to just try to catch up on the things, but yeah, Moonsprout. Hey, how are you? Hello, Moonsprout. Sunbeam Network says you told me about this day. Yeah, that's at the end of May. May 29th is my oldest birthday, Watkins says. Yeah, seeing snakes. Be careful what I ask for. I'm going to ask for fucking snakes in my world. I do have something else in mind serpent wise that I would like around me besides the owls. And yeah. So all right, let's talk about today and tomorrow and why I really did this stream. Okay. I want to say that tomorrow, and it's true, it's Friday, March 22nd Pacific time. Mars goes into Pisces. And, I could talk about this, but I don't necessarily want to go there yet because of this. And for those who watched, let's see if I can do this here, who haven't seen the thumbnail for this particular stream that I did. And that's the thumbnail. Because Mars here is at the last degree of Aquarius, at 29 degrees, Mars in Aquarius. So this stream, and this what I want to really do for the rest of the stream, is to acknowledge something that I've done here the last several months, especially in February. When end of January into February, and I'll take a break here in a second because I want to thank Christine Corcoran, who just dropped a super chat donation to me on chat. And Christine says, "You make my day, sweet soul." Thank you, Christine. Libra rising, and I'm here for it. Libra rising, Christine. Well, my friend, I'm glad I'm making your day. You're making my day right now, and I'm gonna send you some. May the angels, or whatever the hell you believe in, or whatever your guides, if you're into that thing, or you're your own guide and whatever, give you insight in the next month here because of the eclipses affecting your angles and your Libra rising. You are probably have a story playing out, and I want you to think about how you do Venus in your life, your chart ruler, and if there's anything there that you think that needs to be reevaluated or let go of, that part of these eclipses bring something there. And at the same time, if you look at the other side of the eclipse cycle where Aries is that even though there's a lot of Aries right now, there's going to be, in a sense, a blocking of the light on April 8th, and the energy might seem wild and rambunctious for some, but could be like an energy suck for others. So you have to gauge that in your world if you're a person like Christine who has Libra rising or Aries rising, but let's say Libra rising, and you have to gauge that. I'm going to say that I think I'm going to turn on my eclipse special on my Acuity scheduler because I just have a lot of messages coming at me lately, and maybe I'll turn it on during this stream. Okay, for those who, if they're interested in this, we're gonna need it, especially if, you're a Libra, Aries, something in your chart. So, but yeah, any of you watching out there, I hope you stand up for yourself and that you put yourself first in situations where you might not be. If you're pulling some typical Libra stuff, where you have some decisions to make, and that you take a little bit of the Aries and balance things out, So anyway, I want to thank Christine for the super chat, and for those. Hey, Jay Peterson, good to see you in chat. And those who are Libra affected and Aries affected. So on the screen, I made this quick thumbnail. It says, I promise. I promise, because those of you who've been watching my channel know what the hell I was doing the end of January into February. Those are a lot of things that I did with those streams. Were through dreams and daydreams and certain moments I had in my personal life that are going to stay personal, but led me to making those videos. And since we're at the last degree of Aquarius something for now, and Mars is here, I want to remind you of what you promised. Not that you promised me, but what you promised Pluto in the Aquarius part of your chart if you're affected by this. And that Venus went through and Mercury went through, and we had those conjunctions, right? We had Mercury conjunct Pluto, and then we had Venus conjunct Pluto, and then we had Mars do this within a certain period. And I made all these videos. You go back to my live streams, you go look for my cerebral obsessions video and the say yes video and the promise video, and I gonna review with you what this is and remind you that it does not end. And in one way, a lot of the training that maybe you have done, and connective part that you've done with yourself with the Aquarius transits that we've had, me being a Mars in Aquarius, I could tell you that as soon as the 0 degree Aquarius birthdays happen and then the transits, my life completely sped up and fundamentally changed. I had several life instances occurred that I already knew they were happening, but everything steamrolled and at the same time felt stonewalled. But I had to maneuver this, and I noticed it with other people. And I for me, looking at something like the Aquarius transits and what it's set up for all the planets after to go through Pisces and then to go through Aries, that there's something to what I did with the stream and what the promises made to myself, or the promises that you made to yourself, but the contract that you signed with Pluto, okay? And remember, this is no joke, this planet. It's, way back then, people were scared of Hades. It's not like some of the romanticism that you get with Hades these days in myth and story, video games and stuff, which I'm all for, but there isn't no temples built pretty much of Hades like in Greece, okay? So if there is a thing or two, but there isn't much because it was feared, and you should be feared of it. But there's a reason here on a deeper level, since we live in modern times, to understand a Pluto or a Hades transit, So but again, you made a promise, and all you got to do is go watch my videos, right? And let's go back to a video that I did about the promise in the stages. And I gave you 3 of them. And it was for the story to say, first and foremost, to yourself in the Aquarius part of your chart, are you affected by this stuff, that you were prepared. I'm prepared. Now, I'm saying this to you because you might not still feel prepared. And maybe in the last month and a half or more with the Aquarius transits, at times maybe you felt a little bit of it, or you felt it come into your world that you might be prepared. And that it's not perfect. And we know this Pluto transit in Aquarius part of your chart is 20 years. So we know this is a long game. But I think there was situations that have happened in the last month and a half where you probably saw the toughness and the difficulty, and at the same time, some of the things you might need to do to help your promise be fulfilled with Pluto. But I'll keep it simple. You tell yourself that you're prepared, even though that you know that you're not. And you start to rewire yourself, and you rewire your brain. And that's why I put this first stage up at you. I'm prepared. And I'm sorry, Jenny D, you just want this shit to be over. I see you in chat. And I feel you. I will tell you, on my end, I had some moments where I wanted this shit to be over. I'm a little bit different with me, and I went back to some of the tools I've had. And then at the same time, though, like, oh my God, I'm going to hit this place again where I'm going to hate life. And then there's other times I got to recognize when it's kind of chill or whatever to stay prepared to be in a neutral space of alertness if possible, to bring me to a place where when it's dicey, Plutonian dicey, or whatever, that I'm like, not only am I prepared, I'm gifted and talented enough. Even if the shit's not going my way. Where do I go in my world, internally or externally, when I can't control the other things, or I feel like I'm at the mercy of things? Where can I go where I feel like I'm in my place, at least for 5 minutes, and to go, I'm gifted, I'm talented enough? And where is my gifts and talents? And when I'm out of sorts and I'm scattered and I'm in pieces, or I'm being manipulated, or my anxiety's coming up, is like, okay, wait a second. What are my tools with my body to try to regulate myself? And then how can I take the next step? By any gifts or tools that connect me with myself and my creativity, and to tell yourself in word and through action with yourself that you are talented enough and that you're gifted enough. And right by saying that, right by doing it, you are in a sense banishing the ghosts each time, and the things that hover around you or internal, like inside you, that throw you off course. We got a lot of that these days because of what status means in this world and on the internet, and how big of a status messages. Think about that. People are posting everything involved. People have to use the internet or social media apps for their business. I mean, it's endless. And it's like, can you step out? Can you step out from those things? Or when you are in the place where you don't feel like yourself and you're not performing or you're not in the space, can you go back to some of the things you are learning here about being prepared? And then can you say to yourself, I'm gifted, I'm talented enough. And right there, by the way, by saying this and repeating this and trying to do it with action, and I know it's hard, but by doing this, you're stopping one narrative right there, and you can make a choice. And there's the third thing here that I talked about in my streams about this Plutonian promises, is I trust it. Is that you trust yourself. You're prepared, you're gifted, and then you trust that you, with the gifts and talents that you have, that you've acknowledged, that you trust yourself using them, using those things, using yourself. You trust yourself, and that it's your go-to place. Even if you're in a tornado of life, can you pull these moves off and these things to yourself in the heart of darkness sometimes, or in a place? And maybe it's not that way. Maybe it's something that's flowing for you too, that you know you have this thing. You can use this in many different ways. And so I wanted to remind all of you, since we're at the last degrees of Mars and Aquarius, that I'll tell you, I had to do this in my world the last month and a half at the hardest times, and that I have some stuff. Since my last stream till right now, I told myself these things. I ain't just saying this shit to you as some gimmick shit. I fucking live this shit. I've been doing it. I'm going to, And as for someone who has Mars in Aquarius and has someone who's got 2 planets at 29 degrees fixed, right? This is anything 29 degrees fixed for me is fundamental. And I can do a whole stream about this shit, about my life, that things that happen at this degree, the anaretic degree, the last degree. And I could say enough to make live streams like this, and to say about taking steps and mantras or things to rewire oneself, because I've been doing it. I just forget. I got to tweak it every time. It's not like I've been doing it recently. I've been doing it for a little bit. So, I just want to remind you all of that. And in one way, it's, I could say here that in this moment right now, with myself and with you, that this weird space that I'm in, that probably going to change again, and where I've come from, and everything that's, let's say, happened to me in the last 2 weeks, probably since I did the last stream, has completely, for the most part, like several factors in my life have completely changed. And I had to grind through it, and I had to take action. And at the times I couldn't take action, I had to really tell myself, like, to trust everything. And then the hardest of things here in my world, and I still got some difficulties with certain things, I just have this weird confidence thing that I haven't had in a while. And I think it's slowly built up the last couple of years. And I'm saying this because I see this happen with clients, because let's say one is having a Saturn transit or caustic transits, and I'm sitting with a client and you want to say everything's going to be cool, and you could say that, but at the same time, if you say that and it's not going to, you see by transit that they have to, kind of swim through a Saturnian transit for 8 months, or eclipses here till the end of the year, right? And they got a ongoing story. It could be like relationship breakup or custody battle or some shit, stuff that's real. It's really hard. Health, I could give someone a pep talk and talk positively, but that doesn't mean shit for after 5 minutes, And so the other part of this is being very real, that if one were to say mantras or use tools and systems to regulate and ground oneself in the tough situations, it doesn't mean that everything goes away, but if you can feel on those rocky waters that you could somewhat sail and be somewhat present and at least try to come back to yourself and piece yourself and just sort of hold it together, and when you do go to pieces, that you have the tools to help you put it together to sail through that stuff. There's stuff that's there on the other end. There is, and you hear this in a lot of different ways in life from all different types of people. But it's really hard when you're in the place and you're in the moment. You just don't see anything else, and your emotions are there with you and old stories. It's a fucking life, So blessings out there. If you're in those situations, you can watch a YouTube video. You can go look for particularly astrologer or whatever on YouTube, whoever you're going to watch, to find the one thing that can clench the heartache or fill the dark void. And maybe it does for a little bit. Maybe there's some inspiration out there. You find it. But in the end, you're just sitting, standing or whatever, looking in the mirror. And the things that have to change, or maybe that you have to let go of. And so something like, knowing your gifts, knowing your talents, knowing that you trust yourself. That's what you got in the end. That's all you got, really. So I'm not trying to be dark. It's just trying to be real at the same time, that at least for the last month and a half for me, I'm proof positive that you could sail through some waters and come out, and have some moments, right? So saying that, I just, again, last degrees of Mars in Aquarius tomorrow on the 22nd of March, Friday on the West Coast at 4:47 p.m. Mars is going to go into Pisces, and talk about a Mars story that's going to happen, because we're going to have a Mars-Saturn conjunction that's going to happen, and during the eclipse, the eclipses, blah, blah, blah. I will say that on the 24th, on Sunday, let's just pull it up before I say what's up in chat, and maybe say, I think the stream's gone pretty good for the most part. I don't really have drop frames. So, hey, Jessica, I see you. What's up? What's up, Jessica? Good to see you. I got you kind of cat in a box. That's the emoji. Oh, man. Yeah. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in, Jessica. So I'll jump in here to show you. Let's just show when this happens, the ingress of Mars into Pisces. And listen, don't get all down about it, man. You got Mars in Pisces. Listen, there's the old school thing. Yeah, Mars doesn't want to be in Pisces, okay? But don't let that shit get you down, all right? If anything's going to get you throw your weird, you can see on Mars and Saturn conjunction in Pisces. But remember, what is happening today is that we have that Venus-Saturn conjunction here, and is kind of a clue already for you to deal and to understand if you're affected by those Piscean degrees, that you got a clue here the last couple of days, today and tomorrow, with Venus going through, kind of, doing you a favor, to be honest, that doing you a favor, that setting you up for your Mars-Saturn conjunction in Pisces, okay? So anyway, let's take a look here, and you could see here, there is Mars in Pisces at 4:47 p.m. Pacific, with a little bit of a Virgo action moon. It's gonna pretty much into the weekend be opposite all of these places we were talking about today. Okay, but let's check something else out before I kind of sign off here. I'm not going to talk about the eclipse, because I'm going to somehow try to pull a video off before then. in my temporary setup. Okay, so but let's go to something that happens on the 24th, which is Sunday here, which is a little bit of a something here that is I'm going to leave you with the Piscean story. And I think this is your go-to way of looking at the transits the next couple weeks with the eclipses. And it has to do, oh man, my setup is just not happening. I think I'm going to break this. Hopefully this works like this. Okay, so basically we're gonna go to Sunday and we're gonna go look at Venus and the aspect Venus is gonna make here to Jupiter. And here it is on the 24th. So we have March 24th, 9:36 a.m. Pacific. We have a Venus-Jupiter sextile that happens. And so here's your go-to. Now, if you're looking for the place, the situation between and the relational stuff between planets, it's basically going to be Piscean Taurus stuff here the next for so often here, okay, with Mars and Venus, right? So basically we see Venus here at 15 and we got this sextile here, all right? And here, talk about a way where Jupiter and Taurus can actually, for such a questing, optimistic planet that doesn't like to deal with boundaries, Jupiter, I think in one way helps Venus here after it's crossing through Saturn, right? And uplifts Venus, right? And, you know, we got to mention this here because while Venus is doing its transit here, it's basically taking the energy from Saturn that it passed through here and eventually is moving towards Neptune here. So it's carrying a Saturn vibe here for the rest of its transit until it runs into Neptune. So we're going to take this glorious, uplifting, earthy vibe with coming in Jupiter and Taurus with fruits and things that feel good to help, you know, Venus along here. And Venus and Jupiter, now, if you know what this is, technically what they call this is a mutual reception. Why? Is because Venus is feeling pretty good in Pisces, right? And it's making a connection to Jupiter and Taurus. It rules Taurus, and Jupiter rules Pisces. And so here they are connecting in a mutual reception. This is pretty good, you know, like to set up here before it's like less than 24 hours away from the eclipse that happens on Monday. So we want to like acknowledge this, okay? And Venus Jupiter things, talk about idealistic things with love, especially after coming through a Saturn contract of today. Here it kind of gets back on track where they like to be. And you know what, this is some wine and grapes, you know, and some chocolate, and it's a really good earthy orgasm in the grass, if you're able to go on the grass. So take that metaphorically. And if you happen to be in a situation where you can actually do that, I would do it. Well, do that every day if you can, by the way. I mean, the world needs more of it, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Doesn't the world need more orgasm and kisses and like sensuality? You can scroll on the screens and everything's coming fast at you. I mean, if it's happening that fast, if a fucking 15 fucking second TikTok reel, which I can't stand that fucking app. I actually hope they do ban it or it's something changes because the kids of today are just getting brainwashed. We're fucked. Okay, so I mean, is the movement we're gonna make like, you know, listen, there's times where people have orgasms and they're really fast, right? Sometimes people, that's the only way they know how to get off. They just got some, you know, there's just some people, and this is not, I'm not criticizing. The more orgasms, the better, fast or slow or whatever, right? Some people need a Hitachi magic wand. They actually need their vibrator to be plugged into the wall. They need that strong a thing. Some people, just the wind blows, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all good. Whatever the case is, no, however you do it, this Venus-Jupiter sextile, we need more of the yummy in the world and of sensuality. And this particular aspect is that. So however you do that, you do it with yourself, you do it with a friend, it's with a painting that you're drawing, it's orgasmic. It's the music. It's everything. It's the food that you make. Revel in it. Get back into yourself of what you deserve, what makes you feel good, you know. These are things that can get you through eclipse season, can get you, help you have something, give you the break, you know, of things. And so, so it's a thing where Yeah, it's making me think right now that if I do have a storefront and affiliate links, I should not for affiliate links. Should I have an affiliate link for an Hitachi Magic Wand? I would I sell them? Do I start selling sex toys with on my streams with certain transits that are coming up? Like, oh hey, there's like for instance in May when we're going to have a Venus Jupiter conjunction in Taurus. Or on Beltane, you guys celebrate Beltane, you go around the maypole and do your thing, but it's all fertility, you know what I mean? So like, on Sunday, 9:36 a.m. Pacific, we got a Venus Jupiter sextile that's gonna happen. All right, so let's make a note of that and make your magic, okay? Because the next couple weeks, and you saw in the beginning of the stream what happens with the eclipse degrees, the Chiron degrees, and how we have so much ahead of us, all the way almost to the end of May. And that we're going to have to remember the promises that you made to yourself, the systems that make you feel put yourself together and happy, right? That ground yourself through the turbulence of what's out there or whatever's within your world. The pleasure and the happiness that you deserve, right? So saying that, I'll stop there. I could turn on an eclipse special on my Cutie scheduler. I only did it for like a week in February. I could turn it on right now for those who are needing, especially, listen, it's only, if you got stuff, major planets in Libra and Aries, a reading like that would be good, so I'm going to turn it on while I look in chat here. Yeah. Or yeah. Wait a second. Yeah. Okay. Listen, I know I just talked about orgasms and pleasure and stuff, right? I have to walk a fine line when I do this channel because okay, first off, I'm human. I'm a straight guy. I deal with esoteric matters. I'm an astrologer. I'm human. And I also have to be very real here. Is that I'm always on. I try to be honest on these streams and let things flow and where my mind is, but genuine, right? And I also have to protect my world and my privacy and who I am. And so I have to establish healthy boundaries, right? So not help be myself, right? And there's times I'm going to step over the line and I'm going to make mistakes. And there's other times where people might maybe step over my line. And so, but if by saying this out loud of respecting boundaries and knowing things, that I could do a dance with myself and with my creative expression, do a dance for those watching. So I just have to say that. And it sounds like a disclaimer, but it's more of like just, I know my energy for the most part and what can happen with me and what I attract or what walks towards me, right? And at the same time, I don't want to ever limit something that feels free and good. It's just I have to honor myself and honor the world and honor people. So, it's a thing that's constantly on my mind and I don't want it to be, but at the same time, I want to be free, and and this is probably because of what I'm going for, dude. There's more people are going to find me and come my way. And let's just be straight up. I think I have my demographics are 99% women. So I know what goes on here and the pot that could be stirred. So I trust that you'll take responsibility of yourselves and, understand my boundaries. At the same time, I will do that with you, but I also want to be me, that kind of thing. So saying that, while I'm going to talk here, I'm going to look in chat. I know you say some of you say you don't need to explain, but sometimes I do. I do because it's sometimes there's a Jupiter-Venus sextile that happens and logic goes out the door. After a Venus-Saturn conjunction that happens today with the seriousness of relationships. Look at, I actually realized what I was doing. I'm doing something very Venus-Saturn right now by talking about boundaries that are healthy, but still in the Piscean realm where we could still be free and connected to the divine and the all-encompassing love of where we all come from. And part of that is the appreciation of each other's beauty and the uplifting of each other's beauty, right? So to be free and at the same time to share and whatever. So I know this is making sense to you. I just, that kind of thing. So, but while I talk to you, I am gonna look in chat. But, I'm talking about boundaries. I have to watch myself, right? This is my whole life with this. I've learned so much as a man being in the world. I've definitely made my mistakes. I've crossed boundaries. I have. At the same time, the more focused I am with my boundaries and the more aware I am of trying to be legit, I'll be honest, the more sometimes energy comes at me because of it. It's like it just happens that way, and it's, you can't let that get to my head, and at the same time respect, but mostly go, oh, but it is based out of pleasure and love and beauty, right? So it's just one of these things, I think it's a dance that we all deal with and that we do. And I definitely do it on this channel, and there's going to be more of it. The more people find me, so saying that, I am going to turn on a special that I have for the lunar nodes in Aquarius and Libra session on my website. And let me do this right now. I'm making it public. And yeah, there it is. And so I will do something here. What the hell, Nicolas? And I'm going to look in the chat before I say goodbye. Okay. And scheduling page link. And there is my link right here. And you'll see the nodal special on there. It's cheapo. It's cheapo. All right, let's look at chat before I head out of here. Hey, CC99, what's up? I see catching you here. Cyborg Memoirs. People taking notes. I see what you're doing. Someone's shouting out Hitachi. Hitachi, you're out there. You could sponsor me, okay? I wasn't going to take any sponsors, but if you want me to sponsor something, I will. I know you have your cordless magic wands. I don't know if they're good like the cord ones, and I know people copy you, but you all were ahead of the game. I wonder, it's probably some Japanese person who invented that massager. I revolutionized the world. Checking on chat. Joe G. Hey, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. People backing me up in chat. Yeah, we're all grown-ups here, okay? We are, but some of us don't want to be grown-ups. JRP Jelly, good to see you too. Good to see you. And thanks for joining in here. I think the stream's going okay with the internet connection I have in my whole life that's in boxes right now. Thank you, Lisa and Jagger. Hey, Leanne Patterson, blessings to you in chat. And Caroline Jones says, I'll just be happy with the green grass. There's that kind of pleasurable thing. Hey, we have the eclipses and stuff. For those in the northern hemisphere, we're dealing with spring and what spring brings, For those in the southern hemisphere, I've said this before, I want to go to the southern hemisphere and experience seasonal changes. But I know spring and fall to me are such amazing. The transitions are very obvious, even environmentally, and so I appreciate whether leaves are blooming or the leaves are falling, those very obvious ways of transition. And I hope you all are enjoying that and you take that into account here through eclipse season. Okay. Sarah Medlin, hey, what's up, Sarah? Thanks for making my drive home fun. Yeah, stay focused on the road, will ya? So I think I threw that link up. Did I throw the link in here? Did it even show up? What the hell did I do? Oh, I did. And then, let me actually, what the F did I do here? Anyway, the special, it's there. Yeah. Okay, good. What else? That's it. You know, I need to eat, and I have barely pots and pans and stuff. So I'm going to concoct something here. Myra asks, is the eclipse reading only for Aries, Libra, nodes people? No, it isn't. But I'll tell you that it really will mean something if you have like particular planets, you know, in Libra or Aries, or you're rising or something like. So you make the call. You know, people are going to want, sometimes when I do a special like this, some people want a regular reading, but that's not what this entails. Is completely focused on the eclipse. So if that calls you, regardless of what's in your chart or whatever, and that you want to know what the eclipses mean for you, you know, book the session. It's a shorter one than usual, but I'm going to bring up eclipses from the past that hit these degrees if in your chart, but go right ahead and book it. It's all good. And if I have questions, then after people book, I usually get a hold of them. I'm like, hey, you know, why'd you book this, or what are you looking for? That's one of the intake forms when you book with me. Like, what exactly are you looking for? And this is pretty good to use the intake form on this, because then you could go, hey, you know, I have this thing. I'm kind of wondering about the Aries Libra part of my chart because I have Chiron there. Or I have my Venus in something and it's affected by that. It's all good, you know. So, hey, Canada Dry. Good. Hey, what's up, girl? How are you? Yeah, and CC99 brings up a good point in chat. Says, well, it's intense with those moons and angles. Exactly. So let's say somebody's got a Libra moon or Aries moon, right? Or even Capricorn moon or Cancer moon. It's like 19 degrees cardinal. You book the reading. You talk to me, because it's happening, you know. So, Cyborg Memoir says, blessing on your move and bon appetit. I missed the first 30 minutes of live, but I noticed to change background. Yeah, and this place is a mess. It's not set up, and it's going to change again. But I wanted to know if I could just pull a stream on the fly, okay? I do want to make a note here that before I leave, that I did meet some of you in Tucson here when I was in Tucson Saturday for the Cosme Astrology podcast. I had such a good time there with Lisa Warman and Tabitha, who helps run the shop. And if you're in Tucson, Arizona, you're ever passing through, go look up Cosme Astrology. They do yoga and sound baths there. And there's an eclipse workshop this weekend. Every month, Lisa's bringing in an astrologer to talk about the transits of the upcoming month. So that's the podcast that I did with them, and they filmed it. And I took a shower and brushed my teeth for that one. And we talked really about the two eclipses and the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that happens on April 20th. And so I think it's in the next couple days when that podcast is going to go live and go up. So I'm going to send out an actual newsletter. I haven't sent out one in months. I'm going to send it there, and I will let anybody know on the community tab here on YouTube and then on my Instagram and stuff. And I want you to go check it out. I have no idea what I said and how it looks like, or if I had it together, if my head down was the whole time. I don't know. All I know is everyone was really nice and good, and I felt like we all connected and all had good things to say. So again, shout out to you, Lisa, for getting me down there and bringing me down there and finding me on YouTube. I really appreciate the vibe, and I had such a good time in Tucson, and the food there was incredible. I saw some old friends, and I'm definitely going to go back down. So saying that, anybody on the West Coast too, you know, if I get more gigs like this, and I could see people do readings face to face, and I even might still try to fly somewhere to watch the eclipse if I find a cheap ticket somewhere to do it and a place to stay. Canada Dry says with a super chat, thank you. Look at the new setup. So cool to see you, girl. Sending peace and love. Peace and love back to you, my friend. And thank you again. And this is temporary. I don't want to show you my mess, okay? Yeah, and Wake Me From This is right. Tucson does have a great astrology community. Besides what Lisa's doing at Cosme Astrology, then there's the Tucson Astrological Guild that's been there forever, and they have their monthly meetings and their meetups. And I met the people who run that, the Gail that I met, and other people involved. So if you're in that area, you know, go to the events and go support. And okay. So yeah, thanks for joining, everybody. I don't even know how many people are watching the stream. Oh, got a good amount of people. you can go back. I'll add some chapter markers for some of the transits that I talked about how we looked forward today of this 12-degree Saturn Venus placement that we're at today, and how this 12-degree place is when Saturn and Pisces will station forward at 12 degrees in November. So I mentioned those things, and then I did my middle reminder of the promises that you made. It reminds me of a song. I don't know why this is popping up, by Chris Isaac. It's such a sad ballad, crooner ballad. It's called Nothing's Changed. And he talks, it's one of these things from a dude's perspective, like, you promised me, you know. But that's not why I'm saying a promise thing with Pluto, but it reminded me of that song. So but that's a little bit more depressing. We don't want to be depressing. We're serious Venus, Saturn, and Pisces. So we're making the love contract with each other. In order for the vision of Pisces to happen and stuff, we got to take things seriously and add boundaries and credibility and discipline to love and to that higher ideal. And the only way that happens, and in one way, you think about that Venus-Jupiter sextile that happens in the chapter of right now into Sunday. It's interesting. A Saturn connection with Jupiter coming in, right? Jupiter with the vision, Saturn with the discipline and the work that's needed to make the vision become reality. So Watkins Cat House, he's like, yeah, I don't see my situation changing. I'm sorry to, Watkins, that you're in that place. And I know myself, and yeah, I was going to say someone in the chat's going to say something, and K. Michelle's right there. Man, you all are so good, man. When they talk about on the internet building community and shit, I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky for all of you, because you take care of each other in the chat here, and you're all present, So it's something I have to always remember. I live up to, like just stay on my game, because you all are like matching it more, So anybody, anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for coming on. If you're interested in the session, you book me, hook me up. Some of you have pulled other kind of readings off with me. The more people pay the legit rates, the more I could do sliding scale with people, which I have, the more I could do that, but they must balance each other. And since I just moved, I'm dealing with stuff. I got to have my financial shit together too, So saying that, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to jump off here. I have a lot to do in my life, but I am going to make a recording. It might not be the fanciest for the eclipse on Monday. And whatever comes to me in the way that I do it, it's not going to be a stream. It's going to be a recording. I'm going to work on it the next couple days, okay? So saying that, thank you, everybody, for the support. The lights are going down. The cool thing about my setup here is if I did this during the day, there's like windows behind here, and it's like beautiful natural light, but you could see how it's changing, okay? All right. I usually can have music going on or some shit. Can't do it because shit's in boxes. What I can do is take a bite out of my bar. And thanks for the super chats today. Thank you for everything. Everybody who jumped in, appreciate you all. I also want to give a shout out to a particular person here in Portland who I had acupuncture with today, who has just been having my back, if you're in Portland, she runs a community acupuncture clinic. I think it's called the North Portland Community Acupuncture Clinic, but good vibes there with you, my friend, if you happen to be catching this or watching. I'm so grateful for you coming into my world and the conversation which we have and stuff, but I got my earphones in here, and she put beads in my ears. And so this whole time I've been talking, man, my ears are sore. So that's why I'm plugging this, okay? All right, y'all. And on that note, I'll send with the super chat. Canada Dry, you can throw some more cash down, girl? I'm going to say no, but thank you. Thank you for the support. I think with the $4.99, I'm going to buy a can opener. You know how some people have these Amazon wish lists, like they're about to get married or they have a kid, so they need diapers or they need a toaster. Should I have an Amazon wish list? My wish list of things, a can opener, and then like coconut oil to cook with. Stuff I need to get. Hitachi magic wand. That's a joke. So all right, y'all. I wanna sign off here. And let's remember. What's this image? Hey, that's me in my old crazy spot. My old weird thing with Pluto Uranus, but that's not what I want to do. I mean, there's this. No, let's remember this. Okay? We're going to go, you know what? You can say to yourself, I'm prepared for the moment. I'm prepared right now. Shit's fucked up. It's hard, but I'm prepared. Because I'm talented enough. I'm badass enough. I'm gifted enough. I get to change the story, at least in my mind. If I can't change the story outside of me, I know in my mind and thoughts, I'm talented and I'm gifted enough, because if it's my mind and thoughts and my heart, I effing trust myself to know what is best for me in all of this. So take this into eclipse season, okay? And remember the journey that you're on, okay? So, hey, Lauren Dawkin, yeah, make a wish list. Maybe I will. It's going to be all tech gear and books as if I make a wig and a can opener, okay? That's what it's going to be. And listen, I'm a Taurus rising. I'm Venus rule. I like nice things. I want a badass rice cooker. That's what I really want. All right, y'all. Canada Dry, stop, okay? Please. You don't have to do that. I love you, though, okay? So on that note, I'll see you, everybody, okay? I'll see you on the next video I'll put out for the eclipse, and then I might pull a random whatevers in the future. But blessings to you all, okay? I love you all, and be good to you. You owe it to you,